Cool. So we are now live, and this is episode, I believe, 7 of Rapping with Rapify. So we've got Brian, our East Coast director, we got Jason, our West Coast director, and we got Doug, our head of business development. And today's episode, we're talking about the value of out of home coming out of this this post-COVID social distancing, and what we think is going to happen, and get different perspectives from different parts of the country with different varying levels of experience in the out of home space to talk about the value of this medium. So, I wanted to kick this off by talking about the fact that out of home is literally in the title, and people are stuck inside of their homes today. And I think the value of the medium will be even higher than it's probably been in the past, because people can't wait to get out of their home. So I'm curious what the rest of you folks, how the rest of you folks feel about that statement.
So I'll kick it off. I agree. I mean, pre-COVID, out of home as an industry was on a tear. We had, the growth quarter after quarter, year after year was continuing to move up. More people than ever were spending more time out of the home. And the interaction, the ways you can interact, the message itself was amazing. And I'm going to agree with James, in my opinion, that this is going to be more impactful than ever before, because again, we're going to continue to see that trend. But a personalized message that I wanted to send, that people I've been talking to, people I've been reaching out to, is that we're all in the same boat together. So we understand that you may not know what June or July or August are going to look like, but you still know who your target audience is. You still know what territories, areas you want to reach, where you want to make an impact. You still have that basis and foundation of that idea. So challenge us as out-of-home vendors to put together something for you. We're totally flexible at this juncture. We understand that we may have to move dates and things may have to shift, but we know that this is going to end. And we know that when it does, our medium is going to be extremely effective. So we're just excited to be challenged on putting things together to show you how we're going to do that. I mean, when my team works on RFP now, we know that the June start date may not be till September, but it's the target audience, how we're going to hit them, what we're going to do, how we're going to be effective, that excites us, that gets our creative juices flowing, and that makes us, know that post-COVID is happening. And that's the
out of curiosity, how much does it cost a brand to have a plan put together?
Let me get my calculator. Oh, nothing. It costs the brand nothing.
Zero.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to push this to Jason and Brian, but because you're not on your regular commute, Brian's got a very different commute than Jason. Jason's got to take a ferry across the bay. Brian's got to walk through Midtown a few blocks. I've got to drive on an isthmus about 4 miles, and Doug's got to take a train in from Queens. So you've got all these different commuting patterns. But I think one of the things that probably affects all of us is the fact that we haven't been exposed to out of home the way we've been exposed to it pretty much every day before social distancing. And one of the things I think is going to happen is when people get back to their normal commutes, when people get back to that normal routine, or that routine that was more similar to what was happening before this social distancing era, the recall and the impact of something is going to, or of the out-of-home placements that they've probably driven past 1 million times, is going to be higher than ever. I think this isn't my opinion. Curious what you guys think about that.
Yeah, I was just talking with a client who's looking at out of home, when to launch, and we're going through all these questions. And one of the things that they thought of, and this is someone who's not in the out of home industry, so this is a really interesting perspective. They were looking at it from the side of the supply and demand of consumer attention. Right now, the supply side on digital, on phones, on new platforms launching like Quib, everything's there in your phones, everything's there on our laptops. And there's so much supply right now, it's going to be a breath of fresh air once that the pent up demand is released not just in out of home, but just other mediums that aren't wrapped up in this little thing right here. Because I'm getting tired of this little thing. I love it, but there's so much supply right now and so many options that right now is the time to start thinking, okay, once people have other options, where should I start planning now and even securing those buys now, because it's cheap right now. Like we can't deny it. Out of home across the board, from that huge billboard I'm used to seeing on 101, right? Right as you're entering the city, it's a lot cheaper right now. So why not secure those things now where demand will be? Start at least thinking about it now. Again, this is something, yes, we believe here, but even clients that aren't in out of home are thinking actively right now. So that's, for me, that's the, I don't want to say you can't give a definitive date, but that's the glimmer of hope that I'm seeing, that clients are starting to think about that now.
Sure. Brian?
Yeah, the supply and demand thing is interesting, Jason, because there's the supply of the actual inventory, right? And like the vendor side of it, but then there's the supply of consumers' willingness and openness to absorb the message. So we kind of just hit pause on people being inundated with just walking down the street, message, phone message, TV message, everywhere messaging. There's still messaging in our lives, but there's this one part of it that's kind of been put on hold, and that's out of home. And the demand for engaging with that content, seeing that content, and cutting through what was previously a lot of clutter, especially in Midtown Manhattan where I'm commuting, is going to be an all-time high. Because the first like cool out-of-home bus wrap you see, or the first cool Rapify campaign you see on the street, whatever it is going to really stand out that much even more, because the supply is so limited now, right? There's no demand to be over messaged to right now.
Well, so you brought up something interesting in that the ad quality. This is just a general observation that I've seen on Facebook, Instagram, Google Display, and even connected TV right now. Ad quality seems to have gone way, way down, and a volume of ads has gone way up, almost to the point where like I'm getting served ads for things in different languages that I don't speak, and I have no idea why I'm getting served the ad. Like, not only is it not relevant to me, but I can't even understand what's happening in the ad. That's something I've noticed. So, and I've also, because we do also use these platforms for our own use case for driver acquisition. And one of the things I've also noticed is just CPMs have gone way down on Facebook. So it seems like their strategy is, let's capture as much revenue as we possibly can during this period where people are glued to their phones, and fatten up for winter. So that's one thing I've seen. But I think kind of transitioning to another thing that nobody seems to be talking about, and Brian, I think you touched on it. I think it's a really good point. I think brands, in addition to the amount of buying power brands have right now, let's not make any mistake about it. Brands have the most buying power they've ever had, probably in my existence, for buying out of home today. And I think if I, as a brand marketer, taking off, out of home operator hat, putting on brand marketer hat, this presents brands with a really interesting opportunity to raise the bar on ad quality with a format that's going to, in my opinion, be more valuable at the tail end of this. This is an opportunity for brands to do something really unique with the medium, do something really beautiful, and create an experience for the consumer, for the public, that I think is going to be really welcoming. So I'm curious. I'm really actually excited. I miss New York so much. I miss coming and getting to work with Doug. I miss going to work with Doug and Brian in New York. I also miss going to the Bay Area and working. I miss doing what I was doing before. And I think this is the first week where it seems like people are starting to feel like, and this is coming from just the messaging, the types of inbound that I'm receiving via email and via LinkedIn. There's still an empathy message, but it's less it's starting to get back to business as usual in terms of the type of messaging I'm receiving, which is really encouraging. You know, it's nice to see somebody try to sell me something right now. So yeah, I'm actually really excited about the out of home that we're going to see. I think it presents brands with a really unique opportunity to do something really cool with the medium. So let's open that up for discussion. I'm curious. Why don't we start with Doug? What do you think? What do you think they're going to do with the buying power they have and also the value of the medium post COVID?
Well, it's interesting because there's always that saying in football, right? Monday morning quarterback, where you look back and say what you could have done, what you should have done. And while this specific situation is different than 08, 09, a lot of brand marketers came out of them saying, man, we missed such an ample opportunity. And after every type of downplaying the economy, brands who took this chance and like, well, we can get, you know, it's like buying the market right now. You can get amazing companies at such a low value that you never were able to get them for, and then watch that value rise. I think, in my personal opinion, what we've seen some of the brands that are taking advantage are just, like I said in the beginning, starting to build plans. Let me get an idea of cost. Let me get an idea of what this is going to take to get done. And then they see, holy cow, I can build a campaign that just 2 months ago would have cost me $2 million. I can now get for $300,000, and by the time it launched, I'll get the same audience, the same type of results, the same everything, but at a quarter of a cost. I'd be crazy not to. So I think as we start to get more of an idea of when this is kind of come to an end, when normalcy will resume, you're going to see the brands that are proactive, that are aggressive, they're going to take advantage of what's happening now, because like booking a flight for the future, locking in that amazing cost, knowing you're going to use it one day, why not? Why wouldn't I do that? So that would be my message out. That's what I think we'll start seeing more of. And, you know, I think we're starting to right now.
Yeah, for me, moments like this, like even if I look at it from in a micro perspective, I think like salespeople are individual businesses, and how do you market yourself in a moment like this? We have to be honest, it's even harder. Like the job is harder now. The bar is raised. Creativity can't go down. Like when everything's normal, when the stock market's going up, when everyone's like just spending money left and right, the bar is lower. Like to get meetings, to make an impact in the world, for your out of home to stand out, you can just go to anyone. Hey, put up a plan. I'll just do whatever I did a few years ago. Oh, you know, forget about, I'm not, you know, just trying to pitch Rapify, but forget about cool and new things like Rapify. I didn't do it a few years ago. I just want to do what I normally did. That won't work anymore. So me as a salesperson, I have to do things differently to stand out. And as a marketer, as a company, the bar has been raised. Like creativity is the utmost importance. And that's why you've seen, I mean, even look at it on a micro scale as Rapify, we're doing live, we're doing more video, we're posting more. Instead of sitting back and doing nothing, we're launching a relief campaign. We're launching campaigns for 7-Eleven. So we're looking for ways to turn up the creativity. And that's my challenge. We were talking, you know, industry as a whole with a bunch of out of home folks last week. And that was the challenge that we're trying to instill in everyone is let's raise the bar. Let's start raising the bar now so that when we're all out of this, we're 10 paces ahead as an industry.
Totally.
Sorry, go ahead, James.
No.
The creative part of what you said is really fascinating, because that's what I was thinking as Doug was talking too. For not just on a specific campaign or maybe a specific type of brand, but this is just like an opinion thinking about it here. Like the opportunity for out of home, like James, you said earlier, like it's in the name of the media format, the opportunity for out of home to drive the entire creative brief and the entire campaign that will run across all media channels should be, hopefully, I think, at an all-time high, as opposed to out of home being something that this is how we execute our big brand strategy that maybe we built around TV or a sponsorship or some sort of event platform. Out of home being the name of it is now the thing that you plan around, everybody being back out of the home. So how do we creatively come up with campaigns that are going to work across out of home And then that message will also resonate on digital, on TV and print, radio, all the other formats. And that's kind of a flip of where out of home is in the pecking order.
I think what you also seen, which is interesting, and it's obviously, I love this industry. I've been in it for a long time, but, and this is again my opinion, but if we were in a situation where we were forced to give our phones back, or forced to give our TV back, or forced to give our radio back, or whatever the case may be, we'd be annoyed, we'd be okay. But the want to have that back, I don't think would be in the same universe as the want we have to get back out of our houses, the want we have to be outside. And I think, you know, I'm celebrating Passover right now. And Passover, you can't have leavened bread. You can't have pasta, you can't have bread. As soon as Passover ends, I'm not a big pasta, I'm not a big bread eater, but as soon as Passover ends, this is 8 days. I can't wait for a lasagna. I can't wait for a chicken parm hero. And that's 8 days. So the amount that people are going to want to spend out of the home, knowing this has been taken away from them, is going to be through the roof. And I think that's what brands have to understand, to Brian's point, which was very eloquently said, is that this should be something they lead with. It should have been something they led with a couple of years ago, but that's neither here nor there. But this should be something they're leading with.
Totally. I think kind of, and also teeing off of what Jason said about brands doing nothing. You know, there are a lot of brands that are in a holding pattern, and I understand that, you know, different industries, several industries, more industries than not, have been financially impacted. But that doesn't mean that you freeze. That doesn't mean that you stop being creative, because creativity doesn't have to cost any money. It doesn't have to. We speak. I'm saying this from experience. We as a small nimble brand have the ability to have there's EQ, there's EQ, there's IQ. I think right now there's this new thing, CQ, and that's our creativity quotient, and every brand's got it. And I think the brands that are really going to shine post COVID-19 are going to be the ones that really stepped up, regardless of what they're doing with their different media channels. They stepped up and they did something really creative that didn't require a big outlay of cash to deploy. Those are the brands that are going to be remembered. And the brands that don't do anything, the brands that are kind of waiting for this to blow over so they could get back to the office, so they could turn the machine back on. I don't know, man. I don't really have a lot of those are the brands that I don't care very much about seeing again after this. Those are the ones that I won't remember. So I guess my ask for brands today is use this time to be creative. I really love seeing brands do amazing things from a creative execution standpoint. And also, those are the brands that we're all going to remember. I really appreciate everybody hopping on. This is going to be this recording will also be on outbound.tv. To all the Rapify folks that were able to take some time out of their days to do this with me, really appreciate it. We're going to end the live stream here, and I